Welcome back to JT channel and welcome to a little bit of discussion about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I thought we would talk a little bit about it. I'm not sure what this video is going to entail. It's originally going to be a short video, like a minute or two long, where I just kind of told you guys what's coming up here as far as mental health goes. And I know I'm behind on all of my wrestling videos and all of my gaming and stuff like that. We did put out a Minecraft video recently. But that's not what this is about, so that'll be a different video for a different day. Backlash is tomorrow. But I figured I'd stand here in my Ice Nine Kills shirt. I got Ice Nine Kills pants on too, look. My little ink outfit. And just talk about mental health for a minute, because mental health is really important in 2024. It's always really important, but it's becoming more and more important to discuss these things. And no, I'm not talking about like transgenders being mentally ill or people that have different pronouns or genders or anything like that. If you think that's where this is going, you need to leave this video and my page and my channels and just get out of my life. I identify as a lot of different things. I am very supportive of the LGBTQIA2+, etc. community, and I am also a member of it. If you haven't seen my short where I say I'm a little queer, I will cover all of that in June for obvious reasons. It's Pride Month. But I don't want, certain people coming to this video and thinking I'm going to shout about people with purple hair or people that used to be men or women. That's not a mental health issue, okay? But we are going to talk about some things that are going to be potentially upsetting. So I guess here at the minute 45-ish mark, I will talk about a trigger warning, any sort of like domestic spousal abuse, if stuff like that upsets you, or thoughts of unaliving, and potentially things about your parents. Like if thinking about your parents upsets you, this would be the point where you just kind of go, I'm done with this video, see you later. I'm not going to get too in depth into any of that, but I just kind of want to run you guys briefly through experiences in my life and just talk about how important mental health is. I'll start by telling you guys that I am looking into seeing a therapist. It may not seem like I need one. I know a lot of my videos, I seem very happy and upbeat. A lot of times I have, them back there, my daughter and my wife with me. So that always keeps me happy. I'm genuinely doing good these days. Generally, most days, my mental health is good, but I kind of have chronic anxiety and potentially chronic depression. I also have ADHD and might even be autistic. These are all things I'm going to explore in this year, specifically 2024. I don't know why I pointed down at the ground, but I guess I might as well talk about all the things I mentioned because they are trigger warnings for a reason. So this is your last chance, 3-minute mark, and here we go. So at least 3 times in my life, 3 major times in my life, I have considered saying hello to my maker, whoever that may be. I don't want to use the word. I guess I'll just kind of like touch on all 3 times. It was 2009, 2019, and 2015. I know those were out of order just because I kind of forgot what the middle year was. I think it was 15. In 2009, I was in college, and I was just kind of making my own life a living hell. I left my parents' house because, my dad and my stepmom. I left their house because I wanted to get away. I went to college just to get away. I went to DeVry University. But I didn't really want to go to DeVry. I just wanted to get out of my dad's house. And while I was there, between like me knowing that and not wanting to disappoint my father or my mother, or my stepmother, anybody like that, wanting to better my life. And at the time I had 2 girls in my life that I had crushes on, and they were both constantly like cussing each other up, being like rude to me, and but also trying to convince me that they were the right one for me, yada yada yada. I'm talking a lot with my hands. I haven't spoken about this stuff in a long time. Anyway, the super long story short version is that one day I thought about it really hard. I had a big blanket, big comforter that had this like thick rope around it, and the thick rope part was like broken. I took the whole thick rope out, and sat on this outdoor balcony that we had. We were on like the 3rd floor, and just kind of had it with me, and just had all these thoughts running in my head. My buddy, whose name was Frank, he was a big wrestling fan. He was an awesome dude. I hope he's doing okay. He came outside and he talked me. He talked me down, I guess is the right phrase. I don't think I was ever going to do anything because I have thoughts and feelings towards people that do that, people that unalive themselves, but we're not going to get into that discussion either. But he talked me down, and I eventually started dating one girl. I won't name her just in case she sees this video. I used Frank's name because he was a good friend. He was a damn good friend. But eventually I got down. I made the right choice at the time, in my opinion, and I just moved on. So that was the first time that I thought about it. Second time was in 2015. I was actually in the military, which if you don't know, I should say, it's pretty common for people in the military while they're in or when they're out to think about that kind of stuff. There's like percentages about how many veterans think about it and do it and stuff out there, but I'm not gonna run you through statistics. That's not what I'm here for. We're just here to talk about how important mental health is. But in 2015, I was in a dark place. I don't really remember why. I think I was just not seeing my family and being stuck. We weren't doing anything. Our ship was docked. We weren't going anywhere. I had like nothing going on in my life at all. And I'm just like, well, if my life sucks this much, then I'll just whoop. My dad and I started to not get along a lot. That's when it really started getting bad. So everything was just bad. I didn't really have any ideas of what I wanted to do or how I was going to do it. I just kind of thought about, probably shouldn't be here anymore. But then a Falling in Reverse song called Fuck the Rest got stuck in my head. The little breakdown solo in that song got stuck in my head. I didn't know the song that well. So I went into my iPod. Remember iPods? And I found the song and I listened to it and it kind of like pulled me out of it. That and my friend Traden, him and I aren't really friends anymore. That's very recent. We didn't talk much anyway. We were just Facebook friends and he posted every once in a while. But we don't talk much, but he introduced me to that kind of music. And that's, Falling in Reverse. I know Ronnie Radke and that band in general are just kind of like controversial, but at the time I didn't know. And that's the song that kind of pulled me out of that depression. 2019, this is kind of a, I mentioned all the trigger warnings earlier. If you've gotten past the first two unalive stories there, you're doing good, but this is the big trigger warning because this is everything I mentioned in the first trigger warning just before between 1:45 and 3 minutes. This is kind of all in one. Because in late 2019, by the time like November, December had rolled around, my father and I weren't speaking at all. I won't get into why because it's a whole nother video, but we had some major disagreements and we kind of like, in my opinion, I was just trying to explain something to him that he took the wrong way. He kind of snapped at me, I kind of snapped at him, and I just decided I didn't want to speak to him anymore. That wasn't in 2019, that was more in 2017, but in 2019 it was really starting to get to me because there were little birdies landing on my shoulders telling me that he was like talking behind my back and like watching my life through Facebook or something and had opinions, and I'm like, who is he? We're not talking. This isn't me bad-mouthing my dad. I'm just going through what happened in 2019. The main thing I enjoyed, which was pro wrestling in 2019, was kind of in the shitter. That's when AEW started. Like, that's a different conversation, but WWE in 2019 was garbage, so I kind of felt like I had nothing to turn to. But also, I was married to my first wife. Some of you may not know that this is my wife in the cabin back there. This is my second marriage. And we were in a bad relationship. I don't think she watches these videos. But I don't want to start problems, but I was in multiple bad relationships in my life. But my first marriage was an abusive marriage. I'm not going to get into like gory details. Gory sounds like that. I'm not going to get into the details, but it was an abusive relationship. I'm not going to call her out or say her name or anything. I have anger issues as well. I do believe her anger issues were much worse. I do believe in today, all these years later, I think she's getting better. I have gotten better. So, that was the past. It's buried in the past. But we've moved on like a million miles away from each other. But by November, December of 2019, it was so bad that I was done. And I really, really wanted to just cut it off and say it was good. My life had reached a peak, or a low, I should say. I was in my head, I was below rock bottom. So it was bad. It was bad. So I will say, on a lighter note, when I decided that I didn't want to actually end my life, I thought that maybe I could end Jared's life. I was considering transitioning. I was considering being transgender in 2019 because I figured I don't like being Jared, so maybe I could be someone else. That's not why I am the way I am now. I'm the way I am now because that's just how I am. Again, that whole conversation will be held in a different video probably in June, so that my subscribers and viewers know what they're getting themselves into. And 2020 wasn't great either. That's when me and my ex-wife got divorced, and it was an ugly divorce, to be completely honest with you. And I was living with her parents, and just, the thought crossed my mind a bunch of times because we had been together for like 3.5, almost 4 years. We'd only been married a little over a year, and then it just all went to shit. So 2020 was a dark time until some of my friends started to pick me up, and my ex-best friend, who now we're trying to get back along, his name is Kevin. He was having a child, and he had me come over. I met his sister. His sister is back there wearing a wedding ring that I got her. So 2020 was a good year, a bad year, the worst year ever, and the best year ever all into one. So, and the only reason I'm talking about this stuff is because I think it's important to open up about these things. I know YouTube isn't therapy, but I do plan on seeing a therapist. Like I said, I just told you about 3 very small things. I didn't go into any more detail. There's a lot more detail than you think. People are going to jump on here and go, oh, go see a therapist. I'm gonna, okay? Some people are probably going to ignore when I say that, just go to the gory parts about my bad mental health years and still scream at me about therapy. But if YouTube is a place for fun and whatever, play video games, do trying to laughs. You guys hear my daughters laugh almost every video now. But I do think it's important that we talk about these things. I've been through these things, and my mental health still isn't, I would not say it's at 100%. I'm doing much better than I ever did. At least for the last probably 10 years. I joined the Navy. I was in the Navy. Actually, I always say military, but I joined in 2012, got out in 2016, and my mental health probably started to take dives in 2009. So it's been 15 years that I've noticed my mental health has been bad, but it's much better nowadays. Still not 100%. I still think I need to go see a therapist and all that. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to be open with you guys about my mental health. Kind of go through, like I said, a few triggering things that I went through in my life, but there's always help out there, and that's my whole thing. Therapy here isn't cheap, but I still want to look at the clouds behind me. I just realized how dark. It's supposed to rain here. That totally caught me off guard. I just happened to look in my background. But there's therapy near me. It's not cheap, but therapy's never going to be cheap. And some of the things, if you've made this far in the video, that kind of helped me out, I mentioned my Ice Nine Kills outfit. Music helps me a lot. I'll be in a really bad place, but in my head, I'll know that I can just turn on music on my TV, or I'll look forward to the next morning if I have to work. I haven't worked the last 2 days, but I work tomorrow at Bird. ADHD. But I can look forward to getting up in the morning and playing music in my car. And it takes me 15 to 17 minutes to get to work, so to speak. Excuse me. I mentioned I work for a moving company. We meet at a U-Haul place where my boss owns one of the trucks. He owns the truck and can park it there. So more or less, that's where work is for me. So I got a good 15 to 18 minutes to just listen to music. And it can be Ice Nine Kills. It can be Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift. It can be Disney music. It can be Cattle Decapitation and Chelsea Grin. Some of you probably don't even know any of these bands, but I can bounce between all these musics and just kind of get my head in the right place before I get to work. Another thing, obviously, is I smoke CBD vapes. I lived in the state of Washington for a while. That's where I was stationed. And when I got out of the military, I stayed up there, and marijuana is legal in Washington. I don't know why I froze there. It is. So I smoked weed for about a year. Really wasn't that long before I moved to Tennessee. Of course, it's illegal in Tennessee. And then I just kind of like moved on with my life. But I helped my wife and I. She used to vape, and she helped me find that there are CBD vapes and which ones are good for me, bad for me, stuff like that. That helps my anger sometimes. And pro wrestling. I mentioned earlier that 2019 was a shit year for pro wrestling. Look up WWE in 2019. You'll see what I mean. Dog food. But pro wrestling a lot of times does help me. You know, if I'm stressed out and like let's just say my daughter is being really bad and my wife is having a rough day, so she can't really help much because she's got medical issues of her own, I'll just throw on wrestling in the background and start like calming myself down. Or if my depression just kind of hits. I'll give you another really good example. We're almost 16 minutes in here if you're still watching. Last night, I dreamt about a friend that I haven't spoken to since 2015 or 16. In 2020, there was a brief moment where we almost talked, where someone tried to help me like contact them, but it just didn't happen. And I don't ever think about this person very much anymore. It's a girl, cool. She is in like my memories and stuff, and I follow her on Instagram and stuff like that, but we're just not friends anymore. We had a really bad falling out. That's a whole nother series of videos potentially if I ever decide to talk about it. My hair is a disaster. Look at that. But last night I just kind of dreamt about linking up with her again, becoming friends again, stuff like that. And it felt natural in that dream, and I woke up kind of upset because this girl was like my best friend, one of my best friends I ever had. She bought me tickets to like Warped Tours, and we hung out. We had a lot of same interests. We lived together for a little while. But I was upset this morning when I woke up. I had my daughter. We watched Bluey for a while, which Bluey always cheers me up. Bluey always makes me emotional, whether it's happy or sad or just like emotional in general. And then I watched What Culture Wrestling, and I watched one of my favorite YouTubers, Eddie. I watched him. So I watched things to kind of like cheer me up. That's just how I do it. You know, the things I went through, which if you watched this video this far, thank you so much. The things I talked about I went through in 2009, 2015, 2019, 2020. People go through it all the time. We don't always win those battles. My daughter's godmother, she's been married twice. Her first husband left on his own accord. There's lots to go through there, but you know, he decided to leave this planet on his own, on his say, and you know, it was hard. You know, he didn't win his battles against his brain. I had a friend named Sam. She worked with me at a warehouse. I didn't even know she was battling demons like that. She was a very upbeat, happy personality, and her and I were just starting to become friends. One day, all of a sudden, she's no longer with us. She had overdosed. And again, it was because her demons got the better of her. So it happens. I'm happy to say that I'm still here, that I fought my demons, and that there are still, you know, little voices in my head every now and then and I get depressed, but I'm doing much better. If you are struggling, you know, I'm just a YouTuber with 33 subscribers. But there is help out there no matter where you live. Just look it up. Or reach out to somebody. Reach out to a friend, a family member, your significant other. If you're too scared to talk to your significant other about it, your wife, your husband, your partners, if you're in a polyamorous relationship, just move on. Or not move on. Just try to find someone else. Like, there are times when I'm frustrated or upset and I don't feel like my wife quite understands, so I'll reach out to a friend and go, hey, I'm kind of going through a rough time. Or I'll reach out to my brother even. My brother is like my main rock other than my wife and daughter. They're the three that hold me down all the time. In a good way, not like, not holding me down, but they hold me in place whenever I need anything. If you feel like making a video like this, do that. You know, get all your stuff out. I will say that I guess this is as good a point as any to kind of like stop the sadness. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do this month here on the channel. Well, I realize now that I paused. Do a little quick edit here. this is a good point to kind of stop, because I'm going to do a second video where I'm talking about what I'm doing this month for mental health here on the channel. So this is just kind of a let's talk about mental health. That's literally what the title of the video is. So let me know down in the comments, what you think about this kind of stuff. You don't got to tell me what's going on with your mental health or whatever, but if you are struggling, watch my videos. If that helps you, go through all of my videos. I got some great ones in there. If not, go check out your other favorite YouTubers, listen to music, go outside. I mean, it's not a hugely gorgeous day out here. It's supposed to storm, but it's nice enough, or do what I'm doing, make a video, just kind of vent. You don't have to post it on YouTube though. But thank you so much for listening and checking this out. Don't be surprised if the next video on my channel looks just like this, because I'm just going to hit stop and record. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming up on the channel here in May. But thank you everybody so much for watching. Take care of your mental health, no matter what anyone tells you. Some idiot jumps onto social media and says that mental illness isn't real. They're wrong. If you are part of the LGBTQIA community, if you're transgender, if you're choosing the bear in the man versus bear situation, if you know, you know. There's nothing wrong with your mental health. Actual mental illness, you'll know it when you feel it. But I guess that's it. Till next time, this is JT Channel. I am JT. I love you very much. You matter. And I will see you next time.